Hi, College Success. Welcome to your Week 2, Chapter 3 assignment video. So in the Week 2 video folder, please make sure you check out the Chapter 2 lecture, the Chapter 3 lecture, and then your Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 assignment videos. I split up so they weren't quite as long, but they both talk about all the assignments you need to complete for this week. So inside Week 2, I'm going to assume you've already done your Chapter 2 work. So you've posted, you've done your 2 assignments and your quiz. For Chapter 3, you also need to post in your Chapter 3 discussion forum by Wednesday for weekly attendance. So you'll click there. It's going to open it up and give you your prompt. Again, needs about 150 words approximately. It says, can you identify an area in your life that might be a potential problem if there were a temporary setback? So think about things that could be an obstacle, like if you lost childcare, if your hours increased or decreased, if your car broke down and it was in the shop for a little bit, whatever it might be. It gives some other examples, loss of housing and illness. What is your backup plan? So this is really having you think through, what can you do if things that are unexpected pop up? How can you still be successful as a student? And sometimes, life gets in the way. Usually, when those negative things happen, we have to try to overcome and figure it out. So this is just having you think through, all right, what's a likelihood of something going wrong and how might I prepare or deal with it if that happens so I can still continue my studies. So make sure you post in your Chapter 3 discussion board and then respond to 2 classmates by Sunday. And the same thing is true for your Chapter 2. Make sure you post by Wednesday, respond to 2 classmates by Sunday. All right, you have a Chapter 3 assignment. It's called Perfect Week. It'll open up. You'll have to click, go to assignment, and then here's what it looks like. So what you're going to do is you're going to fill this out. And you can see it's not quite 24 hours a day. It just goes from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. And what you're going to do is fill in your perfect week. Now, I did not say dream week. Dream week might be like, oh, I'm going to nap. I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to nap some more. I'm going to hang out with my friends. A dream week is different than a perfect week. So perfect week in reality, what would that look like? How much sleep would you get? How much time would you spend with friends? How much time would you spend at work? How much time would you spend on school? So trying to find that balance. What would a perfect week be like with that balance? And so you can just kind of plug in, I don't know, like if you might be sleeping and then down here, work, whatever it is, kind of fill this in. And then there are some questions down here. If you do not have a program where you can type right in there, you are welcome to, when you go to submit your assignment, there's an area for comments. You can answer those questions in that comment area. So it's just basically asking, did you include study time? How much? Sleep time, socializing, and self-care, how much? So it's just really kind of just making sure like, hey, did I get these items in? So when you're done, you can save it, find where you want to save it, or you can print it to PDF, whatever works best for you. Everyone's device is a little different, how you might go about doing that. And then you will submit that by Sunday. Your other assignment for Chapter 3 is the Chapter 3 quiz. So again, we want to pull this up. Remember, your responses are 2 to 5 questions, 2 to 5 sentences per question. And we're not using generative AI. These are your responses. So question 1, think about the kinds of assignments you had in high school. So for some of you, that might have just been a couple weeks ago. For others, maybe a few more years. The book says most high school assignments require worksheets based on things going on in the classroom. Do you agree with this? Based on your college experience so far, and it might be limited, I understand that, but how would you describe most of your college assignments? Were your college assignments harder or just different? Do you have to change the way you prepare when you study or do these assignments? Do some of your old high school strategies still work? Or have you found anything new? I know there's a lot of questions on there, but make sure you try to address all of those. A lot of those you can address in one sentence itself. So make sure you hit all of those questions. Question 2 asks, have you ever tracked your time before talking about it in this chapter? What did you or could you learn about the amount of time it takes you to do things every day? Do you over or estimate your time that you need? And if you had to give a new college student advice about time management, what are your 5 top tips? And if you're not great at time management, go into the textbook, go into the lecture video, go into the PowerPoint, and try to find some good tips. Question 3 is talking about kind of valuing assignments or ideas or projects, whatever it might be, as urgent and important. So it says, one suggestion offered for handling 2 assignments that are urgent and important is to talk to your instructor. When you think about needing to discuss assignments or issues with an instructor, what thoughts pop into your head? Are you comfortable doing this? How do you start the conversation? How would you become more comfortable? So just really making you think through the process of reaching out for help. Question 4, have you thought about how much time you kind of waste just sitting around and waiting on something or someone else? Have you had to wait in the car for pickup or for appointments? How often does this happen, and how might you use your time more effectively to be more productive? And then finally, as you think about your future career, how important will time management be in your field? How can you use the skills and strategies presented in this chapter to be more effective in the workplace? So make sure you save that and submit that as well. So final recap for the whole week, you need to make sure that you post in both the Chapter 2 and the Chapter 3 discussion boards by Wednesday for week 2 attendance. Respond to 2 classmates in each forum by Sunday, so 4 responses total. By Sunday, you are also completing your Chapter 2 assignments. There's 2 of them, Chapter 2, your Chapter 2 quiz, your Chapter 3 assignment, and your Chapter 3 quiz. If you have any questions on any of those, please reach out and let me know, and have a great week.